Noswith, a very good evening, one and all, and welcome to Match Day Live. It's Virtue Trophy quarter-final night tonight at the Stoke Kairas as Phil Parkinson's men stand 2 steps away from a Wembley final in mid-April. Bolton Wanderers make the relatively short journey across from the edge of Manchester to North Wales. Stephen Schumacher's side not far behind Wrexham in the League One promotion race. With a new manager at the helm, the Trotters will prove no easy opponents tonight, particularly with Wembley very much in view in this competition. Alongside me tonight, as ever, here at the Stoke Kairas, Andy Morell and Mia Roberts. Good to see you both. And the Virtue Trophy is a special competition, isn't it? Because whilst the early rounds might struggle perhaps to necessarily attract as many fans as would attend league fixtures, when it gets to this point, Mia, suddenly it looks rather different.
Yeah, it is, and you know, like you say, 2 wins away from Wembley now. I mean, what an opportunity to get to a final there at the biggest stage of all, really, and get some silverware. I mean, it's a fantastic opportunity, and I think obviously we'll discuss lineup soon, but I think Phil's looking at it as a real prospect and something he's not going to take lightly and just use as minutes as maybe he has done earlier on in the competition. And I know you could probably argue maybe the schedule's favoured us a bit with obviously having that weekend off, and you need to get minutes in players' legs, but no, it's a massive opportunity for those to go out there tonight, especially in the knowledge that the semi-final is going to be possibly back at this place too.
Andy, the prospect of a Wembley final for players who operate around League One and League Two, I imagine, provides quite a different motivation than the traditional league season.
Yeah, it's definite carrots dangled right in front of you, and when you, like you said, at the start of this competition, it's chance for minutes for players, etc. But now it's full tilt. Go as strong if you can, if you want to, and try and win the game and get yourself to Wembley. It'd be amazing. An achievement. This cup's been quite good for us in the past, as we know, so why not go and go strong? And he has. The team looks like he's sort of mixing it up again. I was really intrigued to see what Phil was going to do today, whether he'd go super strong after having a week off, or whether he'd just play the lads that played last week to give them minutes, and he sort of mixed it a little bit, hasn't he, but stuck with a few of them that did well last week as well.
Let's have a look then, without further ado, at the Wrexham starting 11 for tonight's game, because Phil Parkinson has elected to make 2 adjustments from the team who won in this competition a week ago at Port Vale. Lewis Brunt comes in for Max Cleworth, who earns a well-earned rest on the bench this evening. So Brunt comes into the back 3 alongside Scarr and O'Connor. The midfield is unchanged from the team who won at Vale Park. So Longman will operate at right wing back, Seb Revan left wing back, George Evans will anchor midfield with Andy Cannon on the right and Elliot Lee on the left, and Jack Marriott gets his first start since his injury alongside birthday boy Mo Farl, who turns 22 today. Jay Rodriguez and Sam Smith, the new signings in the transfer window, among the substitutes, alongside Cleworth, Mendy, Barnett, Rathbone and Luke McNicholas, recently returned from Rochdale. Mia, your reflections on that selection?
Strong, I think. Like Andy said, I think we were all a bit intrigued to see what Phil would go for tonight. It was a bit of unsure whether he would still rest those players or go with some of them again. But I think the ones who played last Tuesday at Port Vale probably deserve to still be in the squad. I know it was a bit of a tricky first few minutes, but we really grew into that game, and in the end it was a really professional performance, I thought. And the likes of Mo Farl, I thought really stood out. I thought he's not had too many opportunities so far this season, but last week he definitely took it, and deserves to have his starting place today. As like someone like Ryan Longman, who's obviously come in. I mean, I think he's played 3 games, got 3 assists already. He's already shown his quality, so for him to be back here tonight, what an opportunity for him as well.
Yeah, he's really starred, hasn't he, Longman, Andy, in his early appearances for the club. As Mia says, a couple of assists at Port Vale. It's going to be a good battle with him and the other Ryan Barnett, for that right wing back shirt for the remainder of the season. I guess tonight gives Ryan Longman another opportunity to show Phil Parkinson that when league returns on Saturday at Northampton, that shirt should be his.
Yeah, they're having an assist off, I think, by the end of the season, won't they?
I like that concept.
Yeah, because obviously Ryan Barnett is top assist in the league from that side, and Ryan's got 3 already in his 3 games that he's played. That's an amazing stat to start with, the way that he's come at it as well, the quality that he's put in on those couple of opportunities that he's had. It's really been top drawer, and so he'll be looking to do that again, and like you say, put a place in for him to start the following Saturday in the league. I'm just pleased to see Marriott back on the pitch, starting again, get some real good minutes into him, and hopefully him and Mo Farl will click a little bit and maybe cause a few problems for that back 3 or 4 that Bolton play.
Quite a big moment, isn't it, for Jack Marriott tonight, because he's had some cameos off the bench, but the first start he's had in a very long time, after being, of course, in such electrifying form at the start of the season.
Yeah, well, he was the one that was carrying us, wasn't he, at the start?
Yeah.
He was the one scoring after that brilliant goal in the first game of the season. He just continued his quality, if you like, for those first games, and then it was a real surprise to see him go down with such an odd injury. And it's took his time, but he's pushed himself. He's got himself fit and he's back into it, and yeah, lovely to see him on there. It'd be great to get a goal, wouldn't it, today, and set him off again if possible.
Goal scoring, of course, Mia, has been more difficult for Wrexham as the season has gone on, and Phil has mentioned that to us as well. And often games have been 1-1-0, or Wrexham have been fighting to stay in games without the ability to score so fluently. But of course, in the early weeks of the season, with Marriott on fire, 3 and 2 goals was the regular fare, wasn't it? So if he can find that kind of groove again, it could really change the dynamic in the forward line as we look forward to the last third of the season.
Yeah, I think so, and obviously now in that squad we've got people like Jay Rodriguez and Sam Smith sitting on the bench, so even if Jack Marriott doesn't come straight back in, which I'm sure it's going to be very difficult to after a serious injury, you can't just come back and go straight back into that form.
Yeah.
But having the quality to come off the bench and do that, and knowing he's got that backup, will give him a bit of confidence as well. I think there's not too much pressure on him to come in and do it all himself again, maybe like there was at the start of the season.
We know that Paul Mullin was having a scan. He's not involved tonight, Andy, nor Ollie Palmer, nor Harry Ashfield. But the strength of depth of the strikers still means that you've got, as Mia says, Smith and Rodriguez on the bench, the return of Marriott and Farl, who has the confidence from the goal last week.
Yeah, we've not had for a while 4 strikers firing at all cylinders and really pushing each other, have we? We've been a bit like, oh, we'll put Elliot Lee in there, we'll play little bit parts for the strikers, and it's not really quite quite worked as he probably would have hoped. He wants 4 strikers pushing each other, scoring goals, really wanting that shirt off each other's back. And when you get that, you get quality. Then that's what you get, and you get goals as well, because people want to stay in the team. And we've not had that, so hopefully Murray can get going. We can get Sam Smith on as well, get him going, and Rodriguez. All these boys are pushing for that starting place, and there's people looking over their shoulders going, if I don't perform, I'm not playing. And so I've got to.
Mia, you had a chance to have a look at Smith and Rodriguez, who were thrown straight in at Crawley and played together. How did you think they went?
I thought they were brilliant. From minute one, really. I think both of them combined really well, didn't they? I think that Rodriguez chance, I think, of early on was a real good move. Ollie Rathbone was exceptional. I think that's something I noted early on. The sort of relationships already, you could see them ticking along, couldn't you? Whether it was Smith with Barnett, Rodriguez with Rathbone, it just looked like they'd sort of embedded themselves straight in there. So that's brilliant to see, and obviously, hopefully, that only gets better going into towards the end of this season. But no, already some real bright sparks, and I think 2 brilliant signings to bring in through the door.
Yeah, Smith looks like the big strong one up front. Looks like he can play with somebody as well. Looks to look off them as well. He's played the 2 down at Reading quite a lot, I think. But he's got strength. He's got a bit more pace. He's a bit more mobile probably than Ollie Palmer was at this last stage of his career. And so he just gives us another little option of down that channel or whatever and in behind, which will stretch the pitch and hopefully leave those gaps for your midfielders then to get going and get playing.
Yeah, and the opportunity for players to get to know the way that Smith and Rodriguez move and the way they operate, the kind of service they want. The time that's passed since Crawley, particularly with the fact there wasn't a game on Saturday, will have given them a lot more time on the training ground, you think, to just start to understand some of those combinations and rhythms a bit more. Yeah,
but that's what really impressed me, and I think that goes to show their quality, that straight away you're thrown in the deep end, really, both starting together. 2 absolute newbies in this squad. I know they obviously have played with a couple of the lads. I think Sam Smith's pretty good friends with George Evans, so probably has a few connections there. Obviously Jay Rodriguez, Stephen Fletcher and James McLean, but apart from that, it's sort of started from scratch, really, isn't it? So the way they did come in and already had those sort of relationships, connections on the pitch was really impressive. So I think hopefully tonight maybe we see them come off the bench and show a bit more.
It gives them a chance as well to see how we play, what we do, what do we do without the ball, when do we go and press, when don't we, when do we sit in that mid block that we've done so often away from home. It gives them a good chance to see what we do as well, without having another game, learning on the job, really. We've had 10 days where they could really get their teeth into a bit of our structure.
And Phil Parkinson said, Andy, it gives a lift to the dressing room to see new players come in, particularly who bring quality. Can it be disruptive, though, to suddenly have 2 new faces in who haven't been on the journey so far this season, weren't on the summer tour, particularly if they're pushed straight into the first team?
Well, you can see at Huddersfield it's happened. They've spent £3 million on 2 strikers and they've not won since they've been in. So it can sometimes hinder a little bit. But I think from a personal point of view, if I see 2 new players coming in, especially in my position, I'm going to show them how good I am. I'm not going to let them come in and play in my position, not straight away. And I know there's pressure by a manager to play if you've spent £2 million or whatever it is on a player. There's that pressure to play them. But you can still, as another player, go, no, I'm going to train better, I'm going to play harder, and I'm going to score when they come. I'm going to take my chance or the opportunity when it comes. And so I'm not going to let it have an easy. And what that does is just the whole squad then is the ability and the standards that are really raised, and hopefully that drives your team on.
Yeah, we've seen it last few seasons as well, haven't we? When he's made these January signings and all they've had is a good impact. We're yet to see a player come in and cause any real problems in that dressing room, and that just goes to show that the personnel is right as well as the sort of quality on pitch.
And of course we talked after the Stevenage game where Phil was so disconsolate at the performance. It had been 3 defeats in 5 games. There's then been that really positive reaction at Crawley, new faces in. You get the sense again that very much the effort is to try and turn around that little slump and go again to the final third.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it, football? When you have a defeat, you look over your shoulder and it's looking down, what's happening behind you. But then when you win, you're looking up and trying to win, and you're going to win the league all of a sudden. So football's great, isn't it?
Changes quickly. Well, I can see Phil's here to have a word with us this evening. Good evening, Phil.
Hi.
Thank you very much for coming to join us. Virtue Trophy action tonight then, Phil. Just 2 games now from Wembley. And a side that you've picked tonight, which is certainly stronger than we saw in the group stages of the competition. How are you looking at the challenge tonight and the opportunity ahead?
Yeah, I think first of all, a lot of the lads who played so well at Port Vale last week deserve another opportunity, but also need another game, which is very important for us as we go into what will be a busy schedule coming up. and like you say, get the result tonight with one game off Wembley, and I think you never underestimate the value of taking a club to that famous stadium. So, level above tonight in Bolton over Port Vale in terms of the opposition, but a really good test for us.
Given Jack Marriott his first start since his injury, has there been a moment in training, Phil, that you've thought to yourself, he's ready now?
He's gradually got better, and I think tonight is the right moment for him. 60-65 minutes, but we've got two good strikers on the bench, but he's looked sharp, and he's hungry, Jack. He's missed a lot of time, and he's playing catch up, but we needed to get him on the pitch tonight. It was really important, and let's hope he can play the way he was before he got injured, because he was one of the best strikers in the league.
Bolton Wanderers, of course, one of your former clubs as a manager, a squad which have seen quite a bit of change in the last few days. 7 changes from Stephen Schumacher from the team who played on Saturday, some of those enforced, of course, with players being cup-tied. How do you look at the challenge they're going to give you tonight?
Yeah, obviously Bolton were, built a strong squad, so they've got good players like we'd expect. We had a really tough game against them down at their place. They went to a back 4 Saturday for the first time, obviously for a long time. It looks more like it could be a back 3 tonight, but we'll have to wait till the ref blows his whistle to determine that. Be interesting. Sheehan in midfield is a key player for them. We've got to make sure that we restrict his space to play, because he's a player, if you let him, can dictate the pace of the game. He's good at that, but that's a great challenge for our midfield 3 as well, because those 3, Andy, George and Elliot, I thought were outstanding last week, and so it's can we stop Sheehan, can we get on top, but can we play ourselves and get the ball into George Evans and get control of the game with the ball, because we've got the players capable of doing that, and we've got real good pace in the wing back position, and we'll be looking for Ryan and Seb to stretch the play for us like they did last week.
No game for your side on the Saturday just gone. Does that help a little bit in preparation and giving the players a bit more rest, or is it a bit of a double-edged sword, that?
Yeah, I think we want the games to come now. We've had a kind of a period where we've had break the weekend, Thursday to Thursday, not so long ago, and I think we're ready for a run of games now, and tonight's an important step towards that. We'd have preferred to play Saturday, but obviously we're in the cup. Credit to them for that, but we'll be ready for that fixture when it comes on in a week's time.
Phil, thanks very much for joining us. All the very best for tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wrexham manager Phil Parkinson looking ahead to his side's Virtue Trophy quarter-final this evening against one of his former clubs as a manager, Bolton Wanderers. And let's have a reminder of how Wrexham have got to this stage of the competition, because they've worked their way through the group and then through a couple of rounds of knockout. So now into the last 8 of this competition. The other parts of the draw are actually further advanced, so Wrexham already know that if they do prevail tonight against Bolton Wanderers, they will be facing Peterborough United back here at the Stoke Kairas a fortnight in the future. Wednesday the 26th, a date for your diary for that game if Wrexham can prevail this evening. But there on the screen you can see the run so far, the victories in the group against Salford and Wolves under 21s, the defeat on penalties at Port Vale in the final group game, but that was still enough to see Wrexham top the group. That brought about a home last 32 tie with Crewe Alexandra, a late winner from Aaron James, the difference that night. And then, as we've been discussing, Port Vale last week was the last 16 tie, which Wrexham came through comfortably by 4-1, despite being a goal down after 20 seconds. Mia, that run through the rounds, as we were discussing before Phil joined us, very much in the early stages of the competition, lots of squad players given time, but you can really feel that Phil Parkinson's moved through the gears a little bit as we've started to get to this stage in terms of strengthening the squad round on round.
Yeah, and that's a great asset to have in terms of this squad we've got now. I think you can do that, and that's all credit to those behind the scenes who've made that happen. So no, it's been a really good competition for us this year. I think we've utilised it really well. Getting minutes in certain players' legs, obviously getting some of the youth ones in as well, and then for them able to go out on loan and still be using some of them in this competition now. It's really, I think we've, like you say, utilised it really well, and hopefully now you're looking at it a bit more serious and thinking, right, we could actually get to Wembley and use it as a bit of a tool going into latter stages of the season in the league for a bit of momentum as well. So I think that is equally just as important.
Let's have a look at Bolton Wanderers' run to this stage of this competition, because they have come in good numbers tonight. Certainly the Bolton fans taking this competition very seriously, and Stephen Schumacher, having just come in as manager, will, I'm sure, be keen to stamp his mark, and if he can take his team to Wembley, will immediately prove to his new supporters that he's got the right minerals. So Bolton coming through their group, victory over Barrow, a defeat on penalties to the Aston Villa under-21s, but then qualifying with that victory against Fleetwood, and then beating two League One sides in getting to this point, Huddersfield Town and Lincoln City. Stephen Schumacher, Andy, a manager with proven quality at this level of the game. Of course, he took Plymouth Argyle to the League One title when no one expected it a couple of years ago. It didn't quite work out for him at Stoke City, but when I saw that Bolton had decided that Ian Evatt was no longer who they were looking for and appointed Schumacher, I thought that looked a shrewd bit of business.
Yeah, I agree. He was assistant to Ryan Lowe for quite a while at Bury, and then down at Plymouth, and then he took over and stepped up when Ryan left for Preston. And so, yeah, he's done his dues as an assistant and then wanted to have a go at it himself. Did really well with Plymouth, like you say. Got a really good move to Stoke. Again, really difficult club to manage, it looks like, at the moment, because they're finding it difficult to get out of that bottom lot in the Championship. It doesn't work out there, but like you say, a really shrewd bit of business, I thought, to take him in at Bolton. Young, enthusiastic, got a lot of new ideas, and he'll be desperate to find out a bit more about his team today, I think. So that's why, hence, 7 changes for them from the weekend. He'll be looking at going, right, I'll freshen it up, but what I'll do is I'll give them an opportunity to go and show me what they can do, so I can find out what my best team is and my best structure is to move forward from here.
Yeah, good opportunity tonight for Schumacher, you'd think, to learn about his side, but I'm sure he will be determined that they prevail. This match, of course, must be settled tonight. No extra time. That is only used in the final of this competition. So if we are all square after 90 minutes, we go straight to penalties. Well, Wrexham face Bolton Wanderers tonight, and as you know, if you're a regular watcher on Matchday Live, we always like to catch up with a player who has in the past played for both clubs. This week we have the chance to catch up with a man who played for Bolton at their zenith in the Premier League, and at Wrexham in probably their darkest hour when they were relegated from the EFL back in 2008. Earlier this morning I had the chance to catch up with former keeper Gavin Ward.
Gavin, fantastic to see you again. Thank you for joining us on Matchday Live. Be lovely just to start with what you're up to nowadays.
Yeah, pleasure to be here, Chris. Thanks for asking me. Yeah, at the moment, as you probably can see, I'm down in South Wales with Cardiff City. A goalkeeper coach at the moment, first team goalkeeper coach. Got a game tonight against Portsmouth, sitting in Portsmouth in the hotel here. Yeah, so I've been here since back end of September, when the previous manager had the sack, and then a good friend of mine, Omar Reza, who's the manager now, he asked me if I'd like to come in. He was temporary manager at the time, caretaker manager, I should say. And he said, look, I don't know how long it'll be for, but yeah, I mean, obviously an old club of mine, one of many. So yeah, I couldn't resist it, of course. Loved my time in Wales, both north and south. So yeah, here I am, and really thoroughly enjoying being back in the game, Chris. You know.
Well, Gavin, you of course starred for both of tonight's clubs in your long career as a goalkeeper. We'll come on to your time at Wrexham in a few minutes, but Bolton Wanderers were a key part of your career as you were developing as a goalkeeper through your mid-20s, and you arrived at what was Burnden Park then in 1996. Tell us about your memories of playing for the Wanderers.
Yeah, I mean, I early on that season in 96, 95-96 season, I'd been at Bradford. We'd done particularly well, or we were doing particularly well. And yeah, Chris Kamara was my manager at that point. And then I got a call. There was a few clubs sort of watching me apparently at that point again. And then it was the end of March. You could sign players up until then. So it was March time when I did sign for Bolton. And yeah, obviously had the call from Colin Todd, the clubs agreed a fee. And yeah, of course, it was my opportunity back in the Premier League, you know, that's where everybody wants to play. And to experience that again was you know, obviously I was enjoying my time at Bradford, but yeah, I couldn't turn that move down. And of course, Bolton, a good traditional football club, you know, with a big following, moving to a new stadium, which we were going to do the next season. So it was a no-brainer for me to move at that point. And yeah, like I said, to actually go back in the Premiership was again fantastic. That's where you want to be, Chris, you know.
Wind forward in your career a decade, Gavin, to January 2008, and you were in what was probably the twilight of your playing days when Brian Little invited you to sign for Wrexham on an 18-month deal. You'd actually been at Chester, just across the way, coaching prior to your move to the club, and we then saw you represent the Red Dragons over 50 times. What are your memories of your arrival at Wrexham and of a period of tough results in that time when you were at the club?
Yeah, like you said, like you mentioned there, Chris, I was player coach at Chester at the time in the second division in the same league. And then I got a call. Brian had gone in. I'd previously played for Brian at 2 or 3 clubs. So I knew Brian very well, knew exactly what he wanted to do. And got a call from Brian and just said, look, yeah, do you want to come in here, son? He said, obviously, at the moment, we're struggling. We'll try and get this fantastic football club going. And I knew all about Wrexham, you know. Good friend of mine, Brian Carey, who was an ex-player who had played at Leicester with, he'd played at Wrexham for a long time and then obviously consequently coached and then managed briefly at Wrexham. So, you know, I knew, and I kept in touch with Brian, so I knew what the club was all about. I knew what the club was and the traditions of the football club. So yeah, it was a no-brainer for me. Of course it was, yeah. To join back up with Brian and obviously to meet up with Brian Carey again and to play for Wrexham, yeah, of course. It was always, you know, that was never going to be in doubt. And obviously went in. We were struggling, yeah. The club was struggling, obviously, on the pitch. But the facilities we had then at the training ground, it was fantastic, and thoroughly enjoyed my time there. That first season was tough. Of course it was. We ended up getting relegated. But me personally, I really enjoyed myself. The twilight of my career, like you say, Chris, sort of late 30s. I was still in good condition then. Always looked after myself. And I built up a little rapport with the Wrexham fans. I loved it. Just loved playing there. Obviously, playing there for Cardiff City against Wrexham back in the day in the late 80s, early 90s. You know, it was a fantastic atmosphere at the racecourse. Always was. And to go back there, and we were struggling, but we were still getting crowds of 9, 10, 11, 12,000 in the bigger games, you know. I mean, the support fan base has always been there, Chris, as you know. And no, it was just a privilege to play for Wrexham, even though, you know, it was tough. Of course it was tough. And we ended up not staying in the league that year, which, yeah, obviously going there, we thought we could stay up in the league and kick on from there. So it was, yeah, it was obviously bad news when we went down. It was bad news for everybody, of course.
Gavin Ward giving me his recollections of time at both clubs. Andy, you played with Gavin, of course, during his Wrexham era. What are your memories of playing alongside him?
Yeah, it was at Cov when I played with him and had a year with him. And what we had is we had 2 really young keepers that were just a bit wobbly at the time, and they brought Gavin as a bit of experience to try and just come in and steady the ship. And he certainly did that. Great pro, great lad, really good in the changing rooms. And he just came in and was really steady, 7 out of 10. But he just showed those boys what it takes to just be a proper pro, how to organise yourself, how to look after yourself during the week on and off the pitch, and how to train hard every day. And he was a really good inspiration for them moving forward. But not a bad golfer, but I did beat him a few times on the golf course as well, so I'll give him that.
What I thought was interesting as well, Andy, was the fact that he told me how much he'd enjoyed his time at Wrexham, despite being here during such dark hours, the relegation out of the EFL and that first season in the Conference Premier. He was at the end of really quite a stellar career, but he still has very positive memories of the fans here and of the whole club. And I think when you hear that, it kind of shows you that it's a special place, this club, even when the form is poor on the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely, and it keeps a piece of you. You know, when you do come here, it's very difficult to just snap that off and leave it behind you, because you have to make some great memories, you make some great friends, even though despite what happens on the pitch, you know, off the pitch, you can have a really good time, a really good culture in your club. It just didn't happen at that time for him or for the club, and it was a really dark time off the pitch, wasn't it, more than anything? And they really struggled, but still the players can have really fond memories of clubs, even despite a relegation, etc.
Mia, he's clearly been able to leverage from playing days into coaching, a number of years at Queen's Park Rangers and now at Cardiff. Having had such a range of experiences in his career, from the Premier League right down to the National League, how do you think that has helped him to develop as a coach?
It's massively important, isn't it? I think, you know, it's like anything in life really, to get that experience at all levels, it helps you in so many different ways. So for him to do that, I mean, obviously everyone in football wants to be at the very top, sort of the pinnacle, but the things you can get from, you know, below National League and in those lower tiers, it's invaluable really. So, you know, brilliant to see he's really done that for himself and worked so hard, and like Andy says, obviously a great pro when he was here as well, and probably one of the only ones who does have fond memories during them few years. But, you know, I think, you know, he spoke really well, and great to see him doing well at Cardiff now too.
And we'll hope to hear more from Gavin Ward. That was just a segment of that interview for the league fixture between these two sides that comes up on March the 1st. And check out the club website, where we will also show the full interview in the coming days. Andy, Mia, thank you very much for now. We'll continue building up to kick-off with Andy Morell and Mia Roberts shortly. But we've got the chance now to talk to our head of community, Jamie Edwards, once more. Jamie, great to see you again on Matchday Live. We've had Jamie, of course, join us once or twice before, but you've got your passport out, Jamie, and on Monday you're going to be heading off to slightly warmer climes than North Wales in mid-February. Tell us what's ahead.
Yeah, so we're going to go to Lesotho on Monday for a week. We've got a 16-man or 16 staff squad that are going across to Lesotho to work with Kick for Life FC. Unbelievable opportunity for our staff and some of our partners from the club and foundation to go across and learn more about what they do. Incredible work that they do out there, and hopefully be able to bring some of that stuff back to Wrexham as well.
Now, I know it is very much a reciprocal partnership, this, Jamie. Just tell us a little bit then the value that can be felt here in Wrexham from this partnership, because clearly you're going to be able to bring a lot to the foundation out in Lesotho, but I'm assuming there is a reciprocity that can be benefited from here too.
Yeah, 100%. So when we started the partnership with Kick for Life over the summer, we also started our Street Dragons programme within Wrexham. So that's now seeing over 350 children on a weekly basis in the most hard-to-reach areas across Wrexham, which is fantastic. Curriculum for Good has been set up between ourselves and Kick for Life, so our staff are learning from them, and their staff are learning from our staff as well. So when we go over, our Future Dragons primary project is going to be in place. We're also working with their women's team, and Josh Evans, the assistant manager of the women's team, is going over. So there's learning opportunities absolutely everywhere. There's life skills, there's lifelong memories as well. Some of our staff are going to be really immersed in the culture of Lesotho, and some of that will come back to Wrexham. Part of it is a partnership as well, so we've got other partners coming on board. Generation Amazing will be announced as one of those key partners, and that's going to lead to an international young leaders programme. Again, and we're hoping that we're taking 2 young leaders across as kind of a pilot this time, but we're hoping that'll be an annual 16, 17, 18, 19, maybe 20 young leaders from Wrexham going around the world to bring back key skills to deliver within Wrexham.
Wow, sounds an awesome opportunity for those who get lucky to be part of that. And I know before you head to Lesotho, you've got to look after a special visitor to this ground before you go.
Yeah, we've got the Premier League trophy coming tomorrow as part of the More Than a Game campaign. We have 2 projects, again linked to the Street Dragons programme and Primary Dragons programme, that are funded through the Premier League Charitable Fund. So it's fantastic that they're actually bringing the Premier League trophy to Boris Park Primary School. So the kids are going to have an amazing time tomorrow, being able to had their pictures with the trophy. A little special announcement that if you look at the website you'll see tomorrow as well for one of our staff that has done a tremendous job within that programme as well.
Awesome. Well, we'll keep an eye out for that, Jamie, and a great opportunity, as you say, for the children who get the chance to lift the trophy. So look after it.
I will do.
And have a great trip to Lesotho. We look forward to hearing all about it when you're home.
Thank you. Cheers.
Jamie Edwards joining us there, our head of community at Wrexham AFC, with plans both near and far to continue to develop the community impact that is possible here at the club. We're just getting close to kick-off now for the Virtue Trophy quarter-final match against Bolton Wanderers. 12 minutes or so before this game starts. And of course, Wrexham have got here thanks to a thumping victory not too far away just over a week ago. It didn't start too well against Port Vale, but Wrexham soon found their groove.
Season burst forwards really well. Revan misses out on an interception, and Port Vale score after 19 seconds.
Showing there that Channing Tatum's work in the dressing room wasn't wasted, with quite the celebration at the end of that victory. Wrexham running out victors by 4-1. Mia, you were there that night. How would you summarise that performance?
I think, listen, I didn't think we started well at all. I thought we looked a bit shaky at the back. I thought, to be fair to Port Vale, they had some quality players in there. Of course, there's some problems, but then we really grew into the game, got hold of the ball, and just started, keeping hold of it and not trying to force things, which is something maybe we've done a bit too much in the last few weeks. And then, like I said earlier, I just thought it was a really professional performance in the end, and obviously got that win, and arguably one of my favourite moments of the season so far, with Harry Ashfield getting his first goal in a Wrexham shirt at a senior level. So yeah, for me that made my night really, and obviously you saw in the celebration just how much it meant to him.
What sort of feeling goes through your body as a footballer when you either score a brilliant goal or your first goal at a certain level?
Well, I can only speak for myself. It doesn't, for me, it didn't matter. If you scored for your club or whoever that may be. Obviously, in this sense, it's Wrexham, but it doesn't matter as long as that ball ends up in the back of that net. And what a moment for him. I know people will say this competition doesn't mean that much. I tell you what, it meant a whole lot that night, because you won't get many opportunities like that. And for him to take that opportunity with both hands and do what he did there is brilliant. And then obviously in post-match, him saying, it's the beginning. It's not the end. He wants more, and he's hoping to take his opportunity further down the line as well.
Andy, you touched on earlier in the group stage of this competition that Phil Parkinson had given players the chance for experience, and it's been good for Aaron James and Harry Ashfield that this competition this year has given them the opportunity to score their first goals for the club. What can that do for their confidence as they start out on their journey here?
Well, it's massive boost for them as players, as individuals, because that gives you I can actually do it at this level. What it also does is for all those academy players below them, they're looking going, well, actually there is a pathway here. It can be done if I can keep training, do the right things, that I can get through and get to this team. And I'm really pleased for Mo Farrell as well, looking at that. What my one criticism of what I've seen so far would be, how much is he desperate to score goals? Does he put himself in between the posts enough? But that last goal there, he lays it off in the middle of the pitch and he belts into the middle of the goal, in between the sticks, and it falls through, he slides in and gets it. That shows me that he wants to score goals, and I was really pleased for him.
And we get the chance, of course, to have another good look at Mo Farrell tonight. He's paired with Jack Marriott in attack for Wrexham. So this is the only Virtue Trophy match tonight, but there is an extensive programme of League One fixtures. Let's have a look at those games, because these fixtures, of course, will be of great interest to us as Wrexham get back on the league trail against Northampton away on Saturday. That one's a 12:30 kickoff. But here are tonight's games. Leaders Birmingham City facing Cambridge United, top against bottom. That looks a tall order for Cambridge to get anything there. Blackpool against Rotherham. Bristol Rovers square up to Stockport County. It's Charlton against Peterborough. Crawley Town face Stevenage. Leyton Orient have got Mansfield, and in the 8 o'clock game, Reading face Shrewsbury. Any game there in particular, Mia, stand off the page for you?
I think Stockport are the ones at the moment that we're looking over our shoulder thinking, can they maybe drop a few points, because they're absolutely flying at the moment.
They're in great form, aren't they? Yeah.
Great form, and don't look like they're stopping anytime soon. Hopefully maybe tonight they do, but no, obviously sort of local rivals. You don't really want them going above us at all, so that's probably the one for me to watch, to keep an eye on anyway tonight.
Let's have a refresh of the current League One table going into those games this evening, and as Mia says, Andy, it is Stockport at the moment, and Leyton Orient, who of course come here next week, will be here for Matchday Live next Tuesday for that one. They're the real two form sides in that top 10 at the moment.
Yeah, they are, and I think Leyton Orient, Mansfield, how they bounce back from the effort that they put in on the weekend against City will be interesting to see how they go. Then they've got Saturday and then us next Tuesday as well, so that's 4 games off the back of a really tough game that they probably didn't want, but they've been mandated evidently, so the league said. So I'll be interested in looking at that one and seeing how they go and how they bounce back from that effort.
4 points though the gap, as a reminder, between Wycombe in second and Wrexham in third. These teams will play 46 matches, so a huge number of points still up for grabs. Don't forget tonight, you can get coverage of tonight's match by logging on to www.wrexhamafc.co.uk/live. Follow the links to iFollow, and then you can see the audio and video options. Mia Roberts and Andy Morell will be alongside Mark Griffiths on commentary. And just before I let them go, Andy, a score prediction from you?
Well, now you've put me on the spot.
I have. I don't normally do this.
I think very, very even game, tight game. Subs will come on and win it, so I'm going to go 2-1 us.
2-1 Wrexham. And Mia?
I'm going to go 3-2 Wrexham.
3-2. Goals in this
Goals.
one. Entertainment. All right. Well, the players are coming out behind us. We're going to see them appear just over my shoulder in a moment. So it's time for us to say goodbye for now. We're back here at half-time. Same link on YouTube for all the half-time analysis. And, of course, we'll be back at full-time with reaction from the Wrexham players and management. We look forward to seeing you then. Welcome back to Matchday Live. Half-time here at the Stoke Kairas in the Virtue Trophy quarter-final. It's Wrexham 0, Bolton Wanderers 0. In truth, it's a first half which the away side have had much the better of. They've played with purpose in attack and have had much the better of both territory and possession. Wrexham have struggled really to lay a glove on Stephen Schumacher's side. Only really one half chance in the first half. Ryan Longman's cross evading Elliot Lee's attempted header. But at the other end, Arthur Okonkwo has been a lot busier. The best save from the Wrexham keeper in that first half, just before half-time, when he palmed away a Josh Sheehan shot which was heading for the bottom right-hand corner. There have been a few scares for Wrexham as Bolton have very much been on the front foot in the opening 45. Owen Toll also going close with a header from a corner shortly before half-time, whilst early in the game George Johnston's speculative cross also had to be tipped away by Okonkwo. Andy Morrell and Mia Roberts have been presiding over proceedings. Mia, what did you make of it?
Well, I said there was going to be goals, didn't I?
You did. You went hard out for your 3-2.
I know,
Could still be.
Could still be, but no, I think Bolton have really come out and shown a lot tonight. I've been really impressed with them so far. I thought we definitely grew into the game, but then maybe let it slip again in those last 10-15 minutes or so again, which is a shame because I think we made some sort of half chances, didn't we, in that sort of middle of that first half, and thought Ryan Longman looked very sharp on that right hand side, getting crosses in, maybe just not quite up to speed when he's going to get them crosses in just as of yet with those two strikers up top. But yeah, it's just not quite clicked in certain moments. But I think we're definitely still in this game, aren't we, at 0-0. I think to come in maybe at 0-0 is a very good result at the moment for Wrexham, given the quality Bolton showed in that first half.
Andy, it's not the first time this season that we've seen a relatively lacklustre first half from Wrexham, and it's often been followed by, no doubt, some robust words in the dressing room and then a vastly improved second half. What needs to change?
Well, you need to start the game properly. For me, we don't seem to come out and really go for the throat. Put a bit of pressure on, put them under pressure, put them on the back foot, turn them round. All the little basic bits, get those second balls to start the game. We sort of sit back and they have the ball and they're putting the pressure on us, and it shouldn't be like that at home. We did grow into the game. We saw once we got Longman in the game higher up the pitch, they obviously have to defend that, and so then we can pin them back, and he looks like he's got real quality. Both feet, crosses coming off both feet, and once we get him to understand when and where he's going to do that, we'll have a lot more joy from them, I would have thought. But he has been the bright spark really for us in the first half. We've just been a little bit, sat back a bit. I'd like to go for him a bit more. I don't know if that's me or if that's just the tactics that we're taking. But like you say, second half we normally come out and go for them. Look, 64% possession at home in the first half. You want them to go. You want to go for them. Shots on target. We're all behind in all of them. And that
the corners as well tells you the story, and
that's right. And we look really not unprepared, but that back post corner that we've seen a couple of times in away games, it's coming back here. Birmingham, we had it, didn't we, here? And then now we've just had the same again, two right around the back post, and there's nobody within 5 yards. Yes, I get it that they're getting blocked in there, but we've got to come up with some sort of method how we can defend that if that's going to happen. Is it that you pass him on straight away to somebody that's behind you, or is it that you leave somebody a little bit freer at the back to go and attack that ball if that happens? I don't know what way you do go about it, but we certainly need to look at it. Yeah,
I know you said it on comms, Andy, but it did remind me that first few minutes of that Stevenage game. The way they set up in that attacking sort of front three. I know it was for Stevenage that night, but for Bolton, they've got that box midfield, and they just didn't look sure for our back three who was going to step, who was going to go. I think 15 minutes in, Lewis Brunt did actually start following Lolos into that middle, just sort of denying him that space. But that's something we need to try and be sorting out from minute one, because in this quality of league, I know we're on the cup tonight obviously, but they can punish you and games can be done too early. And like I say, it's luckily we're going in at 0-0.
Yeah, the pace of the Bolton attack stood out to me through that half. When they get on the front forward, they're moving quickly. There's good fluidity amongst the forward players. The back four are happy to get forward and join in. We've seen lots of overlaps as well. So they look like a side playing with full of confidence. And considering that 7 of these players didn't start in their match on Saturday against Crawley, they've obviously settled in and have found their combinations very quickly.
Well, a point to prove, first and foremost, new manager.
Yeah,
first
of course.
Game. Right, I'm going to go and come and prove that I deserve to play Saturday.
Yeah.
But also off the back of that, the system with the box midfield is causing us, and it did do with Stevenage a bit, that we don't understand who's picking up who at certain points. So we're outnumbered in midfield, but when we have the ball at the back, they can go and push 3 for 3. But we've got to then get Evans to drop to make a 4v3, and with a Okonkwo 5v3, and that's how you're going to play out, not just boot it up and hope File gets a flick on and stuff. We've got to be a little bit braver, especially at home. We've got players, good players, but I know we're getting used to each other as well. But can we do that early in the game to get a real foothold in the game and play with the ball?
Mia, we know it's a strong bench for Wrexham tonight, so there's plenty of options there for Phil Parkinson. Who of those players do you think will be furthest forward in the manager's thinking in terms of a relatively early introduction, perhaps in the second 45?
I think, off that first half, probably an Ollie Rathbone, and just get him on in the middle of the park. I think so far in that midfield we haven't quite looked at it. I thought at times Elliot Lee, it sort of looks like that Bolton midfield got him figured out a bit. Josh Sheehan just sort of being a bit smarter and just sort of knowing that those dummies, it just haven't really worked for him so far. But yeah, probably Ollie Rathbone just come on, have a bit of bite about him, and just try and demand a bit more. And he's brave as well. He'll make that brave pass that Andy's talking about, won't he? He'll get his foot on the ball, and I think that's what we are missing, particularly in that first half.
Andy? Yeah, I think we'll the strikers. I think they'll look. I think with it finishing at 90 minutes and going straight to penalties and not that extra time, it's only going to be a 20 minute, 25 minutes for the strikers to go on and just give everything. Few new minutes, get some home debuts on here for the two new boys as well, getting that feel of the home ground. I think they'll be looking to get those two on at, 60, 70 minutes or whatever, and just, we've got to go for it. We've got to try and win the game in normal time.
Well, this match, the only Virtue Trophy quarter-final tonight, because the semi-finalists elsewhere are known. Birmingham will face Bradford City in the other side of the draw. The winners of this game will face Peterborough United 2 weeks tomorrow, so we wait to see whether Wrexham can continue their path. They are, of course, just 2 games from a Wembley final in this competition. But back to league matters, there is an extensive programme of matches in League One tonight, so let's check in and see what's happening elsewhere around the division. We had a chance to preview these games earlier this evening, and unsurprisingly at St Andrews, Birmingham City are leading Cambridge at the moment. Most of these matches 7:45 kickoffs. We got underway here at 7:30, so Wrexham's game further advanced than all of these. All square at Blackpool so far, and at Bristol Rovers. The same story at Charlton and at Crawley, but not so at Brisbane Road. Leighton Orient are flying at the moment under Richie Wellens. Mansfield Town, I'm afraid, are going very much in the other direction. Nigel Clough's men are sliding and sliding, and Leighton Orient already looking good for 3 more points there. Reading all square with Shrewsbury. That is the 8 o'clock kickoff. We often talk about momentum, Mia, in this great game of ours, and my goodness me, if Leighton Orient got it, perhaps not the best time to be facing them a week tonight.
Absolutely not.
I told you to look out for that result. Blimey, they've reacted all right from that, haven't they? It's given them a massive boost that weekend game,
and I was really impressed with them on the weekend as well. I know Man City obviously got the win in the end, but I thought the performance they put in, I thought they were very good. I thought very unlucky in the end. I think Happy should probably do better. I know it's a difficult one, but I think it could have come away from that with a draw, and then you never know what happens in extra time and possibly penalties. So talk about momentum and coming off the back of that, and I mean already 40 minutes in, putting 3 past a Mansfield team who I know are struggling but have still got a decent, a very good squad. So they're absolutely flying at the moment. Maybe real ones to watch alongside your Stockports and maybe possibly Boltons as well.
Yeah, there's certainly going to be a lot of teams, Andy, showing a lot of interest as we get to this stage of the season. A third of the season still to go, but this is the time that you start to see the movers, isn't it? The teams that perhaps in the first half of the season haven't got it quite right. They've maybe made some alterations. The manager's found out about players he wants, players he doesn't want, and now this is where teams can really start to put a run together. Yeah, well, just look at Bolton tonight. All the noise around that club before with Ian Everton, they're 7th. They're 8 points behind us, who are 3rd, and they're joint level with the playoff positions. And it's like, they're meant to have had a really terrible season. And no, they're right in it as well. And they've had a change of manager, that'll give them a lift. They've got a couple of new players in, they've got back on loan. They could be one that could just go straight in, right in the mix and have a kick on to the end of the season. I hope it's us. We need to have that kick from the 2 new boys and the lift that we've got. We've got to have that kick as well, then it'll start in this second half for me. Everything to play for then, both tonight and for the second and, well, rather the final third of the League One season. OK, half-time then here at the Stoke Kairas. Wrexham 0, Bolton Wanderers 0. This match must be decided tonight, so if it's all square after 90 minutes, it's straight to the drama of a penalty shootout. The prize tonight, a semi-final against Peterborough United, and potentially after that, a trip to the Twin Towers at Wembley on Sunday the 13th 13th of April. Will it be Wrexham? Well, they'll need to find another gear from what we saw in the first half. Or will it be Bolton Wanderers, who won this competition 2 years ago? We'll have the answers to those questions and more in around about 50 minutes time or so. Back here, same link on YouTube. Please join us there on Matchday Live for full-time reaction and analysis. It's bye for now.
placed by AJ Kairas, number 28, Sam Smith. Leading the field, number 38, Elliot Lee. He's been replaced by number 20, Ollie Ratcliffe. And leading the field, number 47, Ryan Longman. He's been replaced by number 29, Ryan Barnett. Leading the field, number 22, Mo Ball. He's been replaced and also Kairas to number 16, Jay Rodriguez. Substituting the ball leading the field number 9, Victor Alviejo. He's been replaced by number 14, joining the stage 2. Voting is now open for your Wrexham AFC Man of the Match. Cast your vote on the official club website. Substitute for Bolton in the field, number 15, Will Forrester. He's being replaced by number 32, Gavin Ward. Substitute for Wrexham leaving the field, number 8, Andy Cannon. He's being replaced by number 4, Will. like the domestic over the man for the rest of suitable 10 minutes of time, or unfortunately, indicated there will be a minimum of 4 minutes, and in time 4 minutes. That's now the in. Efo email diagram, quick now we take you on Bolton. The official attendance at the Stoke Kairos tonight, 7,591. Our great thanks to the 1,264 away fans. We do hope you have a safe journey home. Wrexham AFC man of the match as chosen by you, the supporters, is number 8, Andy Cannon. February, when Leeds United are the visitors for our match, which will off at 7:45 am. Bydd merched Wrexham yn chwarae nesaf o'r erbyn Abertawe ar yr unfed ar 5 o Chwefror. Wrexham AFC Women's National Game at The Rock is on February 16th when they face Swansea City. Match and season tickets are available via our ticketing website. Come on, follow the Wembley Stadium, down to the Women's South and Barry. A safe journey home to all supporters, please do take care when leaving the stadium. Pick up shots for 30 minutes after full time, and a massive thanks to John for his help with the music this afternoon. Just like that!
Welcome back to Match Day Live, where Wrexham stand just one game from Wembley. They have beaten Bolton Wanderers by 1-0 here at the Stoke Kairos. Andy Cannon's 70th minute shot the difference between the two sides, as Phil Parkinson's team again found a way to win here in North Wales. And now just Peterborough United stand between the Red Dragons and another trip to Wembley Stadium in mid-April. In truth, tonight it was a hard-fought victory. Bolton Wanderers much the better side in the first half. In the second, though, Wrexham regaining control, restricting the visitors to just one half chance partway through the second period. But chances for Wrexham themselves were at a premium. Tom O'Connor warming the palms of visiting keeper Baxter from distance. But until Cannon picked the ball up 20 minutes from the end, Wrexham were struggling to find a way through. But the midfielder cut inside, moved the ball onto his right foot, and as space opened up in front of him, rifled a drive beyond the despairing dive of Baxter. Wrexham, mission completed once again, and a chance for 7,500 people inside this stadium to look forward to a semi-final against Peterborough United in a fortnight's time. Mia Roberts and Andy Morell have been on commentary. Well, at half-time we thought Wrexham needed to find another gear, Andy. They just about found it.
Yeah, they did. I thought they were a lot better in the second half, a little bit more verve and intent about their play, and they were a little bit more positive. You know, we sort of even changed a little bit with Andy Cannon pushing on as like a third striker without the ball, so that when the ball did go across to their third centre half, we were able to jump and put just a bit more pressure on him, and we got around Sheehan a little bit more. He was dominant in the first half. We didn't let him play as much, and I felt that we just didn't give up as many chances. We won a lot more first ball, a lot more second ball, and we were in the game a lot more. We didn't create a great deal of chances on goal, but we were a lot better in the second half than we were in the first half, and the goal deserved to probably win the game.
Mia, we saw a quadruple change from Phil Parkinson just after the hour. Both the two new strikers introduced, Ryan Barnett and Ollie Rathbone as well. I certainly felt that at that point forward, the level of control Wrexham had in the game just went up another notch.
Yeah, I think we just looked a lot more compact, didn't we? And I think, you know, someone like Ollie Rathbone coming on, I said at half-time he was the one I sort of wanted to just get on there and just be a bit more aggressive, and I think that's what he did. He just made it a lot more difficult for that Bolton midfield to have that time on the ball and get their heads up and find that ball into another man. So I think that really helped us in the end, and obviously Sam Smith again looking really mobile, looking really sharp up top as well. Him and Rodriguez, them combinations already, you know, we've only seen him now for, you know, probably just over an hour or so. But no, looking really sharp together, so it's great to see.
Did you think Bolton ran out of steam a little bit in the second half, Andy, or was that just down to the quality of the Wrexham press and the adjustments?
Yeah, I think the adjustments made a big difference. They obviously brought their big hitters on as well to win the game in 90. I know there's no extra time, but penalties as well, but to get the job done really. And they handled that really well. I felt that the back three, I thought Brunt was really good today. I thought he was stepped back in again and like just really comfortable. His cover was great. Winning his first balls, passing was good. And I just felt that we dealt with them better that second half than we did in the first half. And maybe it took going back inside with Phil and talking to them about how we go about defending this box midfield. And they certainly did that. We've given up a fair bit of possession there, haven't we, anyway, looking at the statistics. But we were more comfortable without the ball than we were in that first half. I thought they pulled us apart a little bit too much in that first half.
Yeah, it was a slightly strange second half. Not a single corner for either side and few chances, but sometimes you don't need many chances if you know how to take them. And Andy Cannon, Mia, really picking that ball up, seeing a bit of space in front of him, and an excellent finish.
Yeah, we've seen him do it a few times now, haven't we? It's like you say, brilliant footwork, just takes it away from Josh Sheehan, who I thought looked really good in that first half. Second half didn't quite get up to speed with it, really. I thought we marshalled him really well. And then, yeah, it's a brilliant finish, isn't it? I mean, you know, Andy said on commentary, I think Rodriguez and Smith in front of him would go mad if it doesn't find the back of the net, because he hasn't looked to find them too. But no, he does really well to get it in the back of that net. Nathan Baxter just, you know, absolutely rooted.
Yeah, the pass from George Evans for me was the one that set it off. You know, we spoke about trying to get them overloads at the back with the 4v3 striker in that format, and we got it into George Evans' feet. And his first pass was bang right through the middle of those four, right into Cannon's feet, and he's onto the back three. Then they've got decisions to make. Then he could have slid Rodriguez in, he doesn't. He just checks back onto his right, and it's brilliant. He just sets it off outside that post. Keeper's rooted, and it just hits it in off the post, and it's a really, really good finish.
Having midfielders who can do this, though, we've seen Ollie Rathbone do it earlier this season. We haven't seen it as much necessarily from George Dobson, but both Rathbone and Cannon have got this in their locker, haven't they? And playing in either the left or the right-hand side of midfield position, particularly late in a game when legs are tiring a bit and players broken up a bit, so important to have that goal threat from central midfield, Mia.
Yeah, and I think you saw it with that opportunity. You know, Bolton maybe just a little bit leggy. Obviously did play on the weekend. I know they've obviously have made 7 changes tonight, but still can have that effect on teams. And yeah, he just found himself with that extra bit of space, didn't he? That I mean, there was a chance a few minutes after where the Bolton defenders made sure they didn't give him that and blocked that shot. You know, quickly learning from that earlier one. But no, and you know, him and like you say, Ollie Rathbone have shown that now in the last few weeks over this season that they do have that goal scoring ability from those, you know, far out positions.
We do keep possession of the ball, and we're very simple with our passes. I'd like us to see a few more of those risky I suppose, passes. But what they do is, if you do get it right, you open up a defence straight away, and you're onto the back three, and the passes just sets the goal for me. It's a brilliant pass.
I want to just come back to Lewis Brunt, because I fully agree with your comments, Andy. He was my man of the match tonight. I know Andy Cannon was given it by the supporters, but personally I thought Brunt didn't have put wrong in the whole game. Distribution was good, as you say, and he looked really solid. I guess the challenge for Phil Parkinson now is, if Brunt's best position, as it probably is right of the back three, how do you work Cleworth and him into the same back three? Someone's got to play out of their preferred position if you're going to play them both.
Yeah, I think Brunt's done great on that left-hand side as well, though. So
yeah,
he looks equally
but he's a right
comfortable on both feet, and he can hit that one with the left if needs be. So I think he plays on the left. I think you've got Scar or O'Connell in the middle, and you've got Max on the right. I think that's where you're going from now on, I think.
Well, here's the man who's going to make those choices when the next game comes on on Saturday. Phil Parkinson's with us. We'll see if he agrees with Andy Morell's assessment on how he might work his defensive permutations. Well done, Phil. Job done. What were your reflections?
Yeah, tough game. They're a good side. Bolton obviously got a lot of top-end League One players. I thought first early exchanges, the shape caught us out a little bit. We didn't expect them to play that box, the 3-4-3. And it just took us a while to adjust to that. And then I thought we had some good periods in the first period. Probably not enough, but we've got a team which a lot of players who haven't played minutes and needed the game time. But I thought second half we got stronger, and played really well and deservedly won in the end. And I thought we wore them down really. And so the first half was about adjusting to their shape, which we did, and that in-game management from the lads. Obviously I can shout from the touchline, but they adapted, assessed what was happening, did it well, and then had some good periods. But second half, I thought we pinned them in and got good control in the game, and it was a fantastic goal to win it.
Yeah, the dynamic of the game did feel very different after the half-time interval, Phil, and you mentioned the box midfield, which had been a factor in the first half. What were some of the other messages that you landed at half-time to try and get that adjustment that we saw?
Yeah, we just felt that at times we were trying to force it in possession ourselves. We went for that killer pass a couple of times, and we needed to get some passes in ourselves. We've got a great footballer in George Evans in the middle of the pitch who could control the game. And in the second half, we linked the play a lot better, got a lot more passes in, and got more control. And then all of a sudden, Bolton are chasing the ball. Their front players are finding it hard to go and close our three centre backs down. And I just felt it was better. We played more in the top third, the middle top third of the pitch where we want to be.
Just to pick out some of the specifics from tonight, the two Ryans operating at right wing back. Obviously you went with Ryan Longman to start with. He got a lot of good balls in the first half in particular, but then you had the option to bring Ryan Barnett off the bench and be a true impact sub really in the last 20 minutes. Is that an indication, do you think, Phil, of what we might be able to look forward to in the last third of the season? The fact you've got two players of genuine threat now down the right hand side who potentially you can interchange?
Yeah, without doubt. I think I've just said to the lads in there that last week at Port Vale was an important game in terms of for the season, the last third of the season and more. But tonight was another level up. So the likes of George Evans, Longy, who hasn't played a lot of football, Seb, that was a step up tonight, and they really needed that game in preparation for the top end League One games, because they are like that. They're like championship games, and you've got to be ready for them. So yeah, we're going to be utilising the squad, and Longy's a really good player. Barney obviously has been outstanding for us, came on and gave us a lift when we needed it. So it's good to have that competition. And obviously on the other side got Seb. Jacob didn't get on tonight. Jimmy, we was at the training ground this morning. He's had an injection in his hip, and we'll just make sure he's got enough time to recover to be available for selection for the weekend.
Good to see George Evans get through 90 minutes. He's obviously had a lot of time, frustrating time for him, fell out with injury. How do you think he went?
I thought he was very good, yeah. Second half in particular, he gives a lovely assurance in there, and his passing was really good. He hardly made a mistake in the game, and I feel for George a bit, because go back to pre-season, we were a bit short defensively, and I played him at the back, and which he can play in across the back three. He's really good there. And then we brought Dubbo in, and Dubbo did so well in midfield that we then put Dubbo in the sixth role, and he started the season. And then George got back in the team and then got injured against Stevenage, and then obviously we were worried about that position, so we brought Matty James in, and Matty James has done really well. So he's been a little bit unfortunate, but he's a great lad, and I think everybody, all our supporters know what quality he's got because they saw him play last year for us.
Andy Cannon making the breakthrough, a game of relatively few chances, Phil, but we've seen that in his locker before, the ability to shoot from distance. Gives you a nice selection headache, I guess, in that right centre midfield position as well, looking ahead to Saturday in Northampton.
Yeah, without doubt, that's what we want, but we're going to need everybody, and it was a brilliant goal, a great pass. Got him in on the ball against that shape in the 3-4-3, the pockets either side of the two midfield players. We always try and exploit that, and the pass was a typical one we needed to do against their shape, and broke the lines with that pass, and the rest was all down to Andy.
One step now from Wembley. Peterborough United no doubt will be a stern test in that semi-final in a fortnight's time, but surely the spectre of Wembley looming up now will start to become very real for you in the dressing room. What are your thoughts on how you kind of manage the players through this now, and what the opportunity might be for you?
Yeah, I think you never can underestimate the opportunity to play at Wembley, because it's one of the most iconic stadiums in the world, and some managers, some players, some coaches never get the chance to play there or be there. And so, yeah, we said to the lads before, we worked hard last week. We're going to go all out tonight to go through. We've got the squad who can carry both competitions. I'm absolutely sure of that. But equally, we lost the last home game here, and I said to the lads afterwards, as much as I'm pleased to progress, I want to get back to winning ways here at the Stoke Carrot Stadium, because we've got a great record here, and we just weren't at our best the last time out, and it was important that we put in a performance which deserved the win.
You have got the squad depth that we've discussed, Phil, but your selections, I guess, now will become ever more challenging for the semi-final and potentially for the final. How will your philosophy be in terms of how strong you go in terms of selection from here on?
I'll let you know the day before the game, when we'll pick the team which we feel is fresh to go for each game. And sometimes players might get left out in this run of games coming up now who are key players, because we've got other players that now you've seen with George and Seb and Longy and players like that. Mo and Jack worked really hard for us tonight. So I don't look at it now playing a weakened team, because I think we've got a squad of players. There's not a lot in it in a lot of areas. So whatever team we put out will be the strongest one we feel on the night when that game comes to get to Wembley.
Well, a couple of league matches to think about, of course, before that, Phil, and of course we'll see you next up at Northampton on Saturday, so all the best with that, and well done on the win tonight. Thank you very much, Phil. Phil Parkinson, Wrexham manager, delighted with his team in finding a way to win through this Virtue Trophy quarter-final tonight, which of course takes Wrexham into the semi-final against Peterborough United, who they've already beaten here at the Stoke Kairas earlier this season. That match will take place on Wednesday, February the 26th. So back here next Tuesday in the league against Leyton Orient, and then Peterborough will be in the semi-final Wednesday, February the 26th. That match, of course, if Wrexham are victorious, will be their last step before a Wembley final against either Bradford City or Birmingham City. So we wait to see how that might all play through. There has, of course, tonight been a full set of fixtures in League One. We had a look at half-time at how those games were going. Some of those games will still be in action, but we've got the chance now just to keep an eye out on how some of Wrexham's promotion rivals have been faring this evening. Wrexham back on the league trail on Saturday at Northampton. These games are almost at full time, as you can see. We're deep into injury time at St Andrews. Birmingham City are once again cruising to victory. We thought that was a tough ask for Cambridge United, and so it has proven. 4-0 the lead for Chris Davis's side. Blackpool and Rotherham goalless in the last throes of injury time. Bristol Rovers and Stockport can't be separated there. Charlton 2-1 up over Peterborough United. Crawley 3-1 up over Stevenage deep into added time, and it's a full-time result at Brisbane Road. Leyton Orient were 3 up at half-time, and that's the way it stayed. So Richie Wellens' side continue their excellent form. They are visiting here, of course, a week tonight, and Reading against Shrewsbury is the 8 o'clock kick-off, so 10 minutes plus injury time still to play down there in Berkshire. Before we head to the table, Mia, we were looking at a couple of key matches tonight. Stockport was one of them, and unless there is a late goal, Bristol Rovers have held one of Wrexham's key rivals there to a draw in the southwest.
Yeah, brilliant point for them if they can hold on, and I think by the looks of it, it probably was a late goal from Bristol Rovers, because last time I looked was pretty late on, and they were 1-0 down. So yeah, it could be a really nice point for them and us.
Late goal for Bristol against us.
But yeah, and Crawley, I think that's a big win for them if they can hold on. It looks pretty likely, but coming off the back of 2 games, obviously the one against us where they've lost it late, and then obviously the one against Bolton as well where they've lost it late.
Run, aren't they?
So a great win for them to sort of pick heads back up again after falling lower down that table.
Yeah, it can be like that at the bottom, can't it? You get into a little bit of rut, but if you could turn it round, suddenly things can change very, very quickly. We'll confirm those final scores in just a few moments and have a look at the table once those games are done and dusted in the 7:45 kick-offs. Phil obviously in good form there, Andy, as you would expect, pleased with the performances particularly of George Evans coming back in and playing 90 and very much talking about the squad. I think when the three of us stood here at the start of the season and it was the pre-season friendly against Fleetwood, we talked about the fact it was going to need squad depth this season. That squad has been added to through the season, and I think one or two of his comments in that post-match interview about the fact that there's a kind of cigarette paper between certain players in certain positions gives him plenty of options now as he plans how he's going to go at the Virtue semi-final and of course the league programme.
Yeah, and I was looking at the team before I came to what he might do today and which team he might pick, and I just, he's fit now as well, and George Evans is fit now as well, and Brunt's back in the team, and Max is all right, and they've got 7 strikers as well. I'm like, all the best, John, because we've had 6 or 7 injured and out, and we've had to fit in, and we've brought players in on free transfers for a month or two to try and cover, but now it just looks like they're all coming back and they're all gunning, and that's a really strong position to be in. And like you say, if we've got games Saturday, Tuesday coming up for the rest of the month, and we've got the semi-final on top of that as well, that only bodes well for competition for places, and that's the place to go and do it. Andy Cannon I thought was quite quiet today, but then he goes and pops up with the really important, brilliant finish. Do you leave him out from Saturday? Yeah. It's a difficult decision, isn't it? And what do you go with your back three? I nearly picked it for Phil just there before he came in. What do you do with your goalkeeper? Do you keep Okonkwo in, or do you bring Mark Howard in, who came in to steady the ship down at Crawley? Blimey, there's so many decisions to make, but what decisions is great to have, isn't it? Rather than you just got to piece an 11 together and chuck them out there. It's really quality stuff.
Always good to have options, as Andy says, Mia. I guess the only flip side that you could argue against that as a manager is if you rotate too much, then some of the more specific combinations of certain players kind of instinctively knowing where people are going to make their run, where they're going to move, that kind of thing. You can lose that fluency a little bit if you rotate too much. So I guess that's the balance, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think, we've seen over the past few seasons Phil has found that balance and has at times maybe been quite reluctant to change it too often. And I think that's something that normally plays into his hands, because, when people do drop below that standard, like at Crawley, he's not afraid to make those big changes and make those big decisions, which is something I think you've got to have as a manager. Otherwise, people do get too comfy and can fall below that standard. So no, he'll find that balance, and he'll know that obviously with the likes of the new boys coming in, that they've still got to find those relationships and continue to sort of build that chemistry within the squad. But like Andy says, coming into what's a really difficult few weeks now with them games sort of piling up, it's a great time to have a number of those lads coming back fit and looking really sharp.
Yeah, Northampton next up away on Saturday, 12:30 kick-off down there. Not a team who are going very well this season. They have struggled, and Wrexham comfortable winners of the game here against the Cobblers. But of course that away form has been patchy. Great to get that win at Crawley. That was a big step in the right direction, but there'll still be a nervousness perhaps amongst supporters that away from home Wrexham's ability to get 3 points is slightly lower than obviously this excellent home record. So going into that game, Andy, what do you think some of Phil Parkinson's big messages will be?
Yeah, it's difficult because performance-wise we weren't fantastic at Crawley, but when they scored, when we had to lift it, we had 2 magnificent pieces of play, and Fletcher headed one over the bar and we scored from the other one, and I would like them to go a little bit like that from the start and go for it. We did at the start, didn't we, at Crawley? We really went for it. Had 15 minutes of real quality, intensive pressure, and then we just dropped off a little bit, and I don't know why, and whether that's something that Phil has asked them to do when we haven't got the ball, but I would like us to see us just step forward a bit and go play like we do at home and see what happens, because our away form isn't fantastic. Why not change it a little bit and go maybe a bit more front foot and let's go for a few teams? especially the ones at the bottom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let's have a quick look at who plays who on Saturday, because as we say, Wrexham play in one of the lunchtime kickoffs at 12:30. But we can have a look at what else is happening around the division, then we'll check back in on tonight's games, because most of those games, bar the one at Reading, will be at full time. So here are the fixtures awaiting us in League One this Saturday. Cambridge at home to Exeter. Northampton, as we know, are Wrexham's next opponents. Barnsley with a South Yorkshire derby against Huddersfield. Birmingham Charlton could be tasty at St Andrews. Blackpool against currently out of form Mansfield. Bristol Rovers squaring up to Burton Albion. Crawley against Wickham, another tricky one for Crawley on paper. Informed Leyton Orient face Lincoln. Reading against Rotherham. Shrewsbury desperate for points against tonight's opposition Bolton. Stevenage face Peterborough, and Stockport have a Manchester derby, well of sorts, against Wigan Athletic. So I think of all those there, Birmingham Charlton could be intriguing, Mia.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously Charlton took points off them in that reverse fixture, didn't they? So I'm sure Birmingham will be hoping to take maximum from them on Saturday. But, you know, again, tonight, obviously them getting a big 4-0 win at Cambridge, I think we've got to sort of take our eyes completely off them now. Obviously, played them twice, let's just forget about them and let them go completely.
Let them go and beat everyone.
Exactly.
I saw some odds before tonight's game from one bookmaker that had them at 33-1 on to win the league and 1,000-1 on to be promoted. So if you don't follow your betting, you've got to put £1,000 on Birmingham to win £1,001. So I think the bookmakers have pretty much decided they're up.
Well, I'd agree with that. I think they've been solid. They've only lost 2 games, I think it is, all season. They've got a really quality squad. They've brought in and strengthened that, and hopefully, I think that just go and beat everybody. Go and beat everybody around us. They've still got to play Wickham, I think. They've still got to play a couple of teams around us. Go and beat everybody and go and take the league by, I don't care, 110 points. That would do me. Doesn't matter. We're sort of aiming for that second place if we can get it.
Let's have a look back then at tonight's results, because every match bar Reading's is now at full time, so we can have a look at those scores and how that affects tonight's League One table. Whilst Wrexham have been busy securing their place in the Virtue Trophy semi-final, here's what's happened around the patch. Birmingham have beaten Cambridge 4-0. Blackpool and Rotherham did finish goalless. Bristol Rovers and Stockport 1 each. Charlton beating Peterborough by 2-1. Crawley with that victory over Stevenage. Orient winning once more, and Reading and Shrewsbury into injury time at 1-1. So let's have a look at how that leaves tonight's League One table, and where we'll pick up the next stage of the journey on Saturday. So no game for Wycombe Wanderers tonight means that the gap between Wrexham and Wycombe, between second and third, remains at 4 points. Birmingham continue to steamroller their way through the league with a 7-point lead at the top of the table. 11 now clear of Wrexham with a game in hand, and 7 clear of Wycombe. It does look like it's pretty much done and dusted, even with so much football still to play. Leyton Orient have had an excellent run of late, even before those games that are picked out on screen. They're going very nicely in 7th. Don't forget, places 3 to 6 will go into the end of season playoffs, with one of those teams ultimately prevailing from that. The top 2 go up automatically. And tonight's opposition, Bolton Wanderers, well, they certainly showed plenty in the first half this evening to show that they will be a threat when the two teams square up on the 1st of March back here at the Stoke Kairas. They're still very much in that playoff conversation there, with 30 games played and 47 points. So Wrexham will pick up their next match, their 30th of the season, as we say, when they travel to lowly Northampton on Saturday. Lots of football to play. This becomes the business end of the season. Does it start to feel in the dressing room here, when you get to the latter stages of the season, that a bit of a slog, or do you feel a kind of second wind as a player, that actually the end is in sight and you can very much start plotting the games and the key matches that are going to be in your run-in?
I think the professional answer is always to say one game at a time, isn't it? But, you know, at this point they do start coming really thick and fast, and you suddenly find yourself, you know, almost touching May, and you know the league or wherever you are in that table can suddenly be, you know, gone, or you're right there. So it's a really difficult point, and you've got to make sure you've got that sort of mentality that you are sort of going at one game at a time, but have also got sort of eyes on the games in the future, which is, you know, a really difficult task at hand. But, you know, there's a lot of players in there who've been there and done it before, obviously not just at this club but at other clubs as well, so you'd like to think that experience will carry him through.
I guess, Andy, one of the aspects always around a good cup run is it a distraction from the league or does it help? I think what we've seen so far in this competition this season is it has given players valuable minutes. And actually, if you look at someone like Ollie Rathbone, who couldn't get a game early in the season, it was some of the games he had in the group stages of this competition that really propelled him into the first team, and he's now become a mainstay of the side. I guess if we look at the road that remains here, there's no replays. The semi-final is only a one-off game. That doesn't even have extra time if needed. So it's not going to take a lot of mileage out of the players, you'd think, with the remainder of the competition that continues.
Yeah, I think it's a great part of your season to get these lads game time. We've talked about minutes, but that keeps them involved. If you're not playing and you've not got a game to look forward to because you're never going to play, it's like, oh, what's the point, sort of thing. And then that level
trading for the
drop.
sake of it.
Yeah. There's no little win at the end of the week at all for them, and there's none in sight for them. It's really difficult to do. But if they know that, well, I've played in the trophy, I've pretty much all the way through, and if we get through, I might have a game at that. We're at the semi-final of that as well, so that'll keep me going because I've got to stay fit, I've got to stay ready for it if needed and called upon. I think that'll certainly lift the group, and it will certainly give us that for the rest of the month, I think, because the group will probably want to play in the semi-final and definitely want to play in the final if we get there. So those two things are a real boost for us to keep going and challenging, and we've obviously got the league to go for and go out, which everybody, it's sort of basic egg and chips, isn't it? We've just got to go and keep performing Saturday after Saturday after Saturday, and the squad will do that, I'm sure.
There is a tough semi-final, of course, still to come, so important not to get ahead of ourselves. But if Wrexham are able to beat Peterborough, you've presided over picking a squad for an FA Trophy final at Wembley. Is that up there amongst the toughest decisions a manager has to take when you've got a Wembley final and you've got to tell some players, you know what, you're not even on the bench?
It was horrendous. I was obviously the first on the team sheet.
As player manager, what a privilege.
That's the easy one to make, but it was horrible. It's the worst part of being a manager is going and knocking on that door and going, listen, I'm going to leave you out for it just makes me feel sick thinking about it. It's horrible. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've got a really tough game against Peterborough. They gave us a little doing here, really, and we got away with one, didn't we, in that game with Fletch? I think it was Fletch scoring at the end, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we've got to make sure we perform in that first, and then we'll worry about that Wembley trip after that.
That match, of course, is in a fortnight's time, but tonight Wrexham have prevailed, and we've got a chance to catch up with one of Wrexham's players from tonight's game. George Evans is joining us on Matchday Love. George, thank you so much for coming to join us.
No, thank you for having us.
How did you enjoy your 90 minutes?
Yeah, it was nice to be obviously back out there. It's been a frustrating few months for me personally. So to be back out there last week and today, it's been really exciting for me, and a lot of hard work's gone behind the scenes, and thanks to the medical team as well, helping me through my rehab, and I feel like I'm in a good place at the moment, and it's great to be back.
Well, it's really good to hear. It must be very difficult when you've got such a long-term injury to keep yourself motivated and to keep that vision in your mind that I will be back and I will be playing a full 90 minutes again.
Yeah, there's tough days. There's at times you're thinking, is the light in the tunnel? And early on, being on crutches and stuff, it's not something I've ever been used to before. So it was it's tough, but this is part of football that we've come to, and days like today make every moment worth it, and just delighted we could win today.
How did you feel playing the full 90?
Yeah, I felt good. I was a bit tired now, and it's been great for me we've been training hard. That's one thing we do here, we really do train hard, so when we come to opportunities like this, you've got to take your opportunity and make sure you've got the 90 minutes in your legs, and I'm feeling good.
Bolton certainly gave you a tough game tonight, particularly in the first 45. What did you think about their performance?
Yeah, they're a good side. They played some good football. It took us a minute to get used to the formation. We just slightly off it for the first 15 minutes and then got to grips with the game. But we know here we're a real force, so we knew it was only about a time before we got back into the game. But the lads stuck with it through them tough moments, and luckily, we got the win at the end.
Although there were relatively few chances in the second half, George, we felt the dynamic of the game shifted after the break. What was different?
I think we just went a bit more direct. We obviously hit the front men a lot, and they won a lot of first balls, but won a lot of second balls, and then we decided to play. So I think instead of trying to play in our own half, trying to play in theirs was a bit of a slight change. But I just think we were a bit more allowed to second balls, and we won a lot of our headers as well to start with. So it set a tempo for the second half and really pushed us on.
Clearly a tough semi-final still ahead against Peterborough United, and important not to get ahead of ourselves, of course. But what would the chance to pull on a Wrexham shirt at Wembley mean to you?
Oh yeah, it mean everything. It's such an exciting club, and I'm absolutely loving my time here. It's a fantastic club, and I think it's a stage that this club deserves to be at. So we're not taking it obviously lightly. Like today, we're delighted with the win, and we won't underestimate Peterborough, but we've got a great opportunity to take this club to Wembley, and that's the games that this football club belongs to be in.
Have you ever played at Wembley before yourself?
Twice, yeah. Playoff finals and lost both, so third time lucky, hopefully.
One to put right then this time?
Definitely, yeah. Third time lucky, hopefully.
Excellent. And all set for Northampton now on Saturday. Fancy another 90?
Yeah, well, I hope so, yeah. Hopefully get in the mix for that, so got to take opportunities like today, and luckily we did so. So it put us in good stead, and hopefully we push to make that starting 11 in the league now.
Great. Well, great to see you back today, George. Really good to see you get through the full 90. Well done on the win.
Amazing.
And we'll hopefully see you in the semi-final in a fortnight.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Wrexham midfielder George Evans reflecting on his team's 1-0 victory tonight over visitors Bolton Wanderers. Great to see George back marshalling the central midfield. Injuries are always a nightmare for a player, aren't they? Very difficult. It comes part and parcel of being a pro, but he's had his worst throw of the dice perhaps than many players, having had an injury in the summer, got fit, and then a few minutes into that game at Stevenage Mere he faces another long layoff.
Yeah, and it's really tough. I mean, not just obviously just missing your football, it's your day job, isn't it, at this level, obviously, but also mentally. I think it's so difficult. We've seen it, a number of times now where players, get that long-term injury and then come back and then they're straight back out again. I mean, it doesn't get much tougher than that, does it really? So absolutely delighted for him to get back fit and get back into this team, and that's one of the positives that this competition has really given us this year, like we say, bringing players back from injury, allowing them minutes with a bit less pressure than maybe you have if you're thrown straight into that league scenario. But I think he's come in and done a real good job as well. He hasn't just filled a spot. I thought last week against Port Vale, I know lesser opposition, but I thought he was really impressive, and tonight again, just that ability to break the lines like Andy touched on, and he's just got that quality, hasn't he, to just spray that pass out wide. I think him and Longman already, you can sort of see that connection every time he was on the ball. Longman making that run already, having that chemistry with each other. So hopefully that grows, and yeah, I really like to see George Evans in a Wrexham shirt, hopefully a bit more going forward towards the end of the season.
And past experience, Andy, at Wembley twice, particularly losing twice. What great experience that is to have in the bank, to be ready if it comes, either in this competition or potentially in a League One playoff final at the end of the season. Players who've been there, have experienced Wembley, not been spooked by a full house, the size of the pitch, the dressing rooms. You can't put a price on that.
No, we've got great experience throughout the dressing room. We've got some young lads that will be looking to those players to guide them, if you like, into that position and that. And playing at Wembley is you talk about it, every kid's dream, isn't it, of going and playing at a place like that and playing your football there, and they'll all be doing the same. And if you have been and unfortunately got beat, you're desperate to have that feeling of going there. There's no point going and losing. You don't want to do that. It's the worst feeling in the world. You've got to go and got to win. It doesn't matter by hook or by crook, and I'm sure that they'll all be thinking that. They'll all be thinking, we've got to beat Peterborough first. There'll be no doubt that everybody in that changing room will be going, Wembley doesn't even matter. We've got Northampton on the weekend. We've got Leyton Orient who are flying. But when we do get to this Peterborough game, they'll all be guns blazing, because they'll know that the reward at the end of it is huge.
And to have George Evans available again, Mia, you've now got Matty James, George Dobson, George Evans, players with different qualities, of course, but these are three players who Phil Parkinson is undoubtedly going to draw on between now and the end of the season. And perhaps of all his selection headaches, that central midfield anchor might be the one that's the one needing most paracetamol.
Well, yeah, he's got a few, hasn't he, in that squad at the moment, where you're just thinking, which one do I put in? But no, like you say, I think they do have sort of different styles of play at times as well. All sort of three of them, and yeah, someone like obviously George Evans can slot into that back three as well, so that's another option for him. If obviously you've got these quality of players, you don't want to just be shoehorning them in positions maybe that's not their first choice. So it's a real difficult one, but like you say, to have that quality of three-player in that central midfield, I mean, it's something we've been crying out for, I think, for a long time. So for them three, right now to all be fully fit and raring to go, it's such a great strength for this club right now.
Do you think George Evans could be a genuine option in the centre-back role?
Not at the moment, but if something does happen to Max and we've got you playing that left-hand side, then why not? We've seen him play there. He played at Mansfield in the FA Cup last year, I think, and just slotted. He was brilliant. Really comfortable on the ball, good pace to him, reads the game well. So he's got a lot of really good attributes. He might be, I think they might change it as well. At times in the game, they might go to two. At times, and they might go to maybe James and Evans or James and Dobson, just to shore things up. If we're winning a game and things are a little bit tighter, so that we've always got that to go to as well. So. he's just got options coming out of his ears. It's just what a great place to be.
Yeah, good one to have. Good one to have. Mia, Andy, thank you both so much. Northampton beckons next up on Saturday, so have a good trip there, and we'll be next here together on Tuesday night for Leyton Orient in the league. Well, it was a hard-fought battle for Wrexham tonight against Bolton Wanderers. But if you're in a hard-fought battle and you can't find a way through, well, you can always fire the cannon. From all of us here at the Stoke Kairos, diolch am wylio, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Good night.